songs of Martin Page, all day, all night, forever. So grab a cup of tea, settle down with us in the Owl's Nest. Well, here we are again with a special. A special. Sounds like one of those TV adverts, doesn't it? Order now and we'll send along free a bag of coal. Yeah, this is a special though. I enjoy doing these specials about solo albums I've recorded, and I sort of go through every element that I can remember about releasing those records. And I really want to talk about an album I released which is very, very, very special to me, very personal record called Fugitive Pieces, which I released in April, I think April the 19th, 2021. And it remains to me probably one of my most loved albums, really, because it's such an unusual album for me to record at that time, and still remains a very unusual record for me. It's a very, very intimate record. I mean, I know lots of artists say this is me being really open and intimate, but it was a strange way this album came about. I wrote the whole album in a period of 3 weeks, one song every day, because I was going through a depression, and I thought, I don't just want to be depressed and go to bed early and draw the curtains and back away from life. I thought I got to give myself a task to get through this, and of course music has always been a healing balm for me. So I sort of set myself out this plan. I don't know really why it happened, but I thought I'm going to try and write from absolute an emotional place, a stream of consciousness. Each day I'm going to try and write the basics, the body of a song, and get it down in a day. And the next day I have to do another one and not overthink. That was the key. It was to really not overthink and to write something that put me in touch in a way with my depression, and put me in touch with all those emotions that sort of come up when you're a little bit blue. You know, that seems to rise to the surface, and sometimes when you push it away, it gets worse. But if you're able to just let it out, and music for me has always been my escape ever since I was a kid. Music made everything brighter and made life worthwhile. So my task was to write and record here in my home studio the basis of a song every day, and also to go back to something which was very minimal, and the way I started writing songs, which means going straight to the piano, and just basically going back to the rudiments of chords, harmony, and feeling simplicity really in these songs. I was trying to accomplish something which I did when I first started writing, where I would sit forever at a piano and try and work out chord sequences and melodies that felt special to me. So in a way it was like going back into time, right back to the period of the late 70s when I used to start sitting at my piano and trying to just construct well-written chordal songs. The first song that appeared, and actually what's interesting about this record, at every song on the album, the way it follows 1 to 11, these songs are written that way. I didn't have to think about moving songs around. Every day a song was written, that was song 1, song 2, song 3, and that was going to be the way the songs were going to appear on the album. First song I wrote was a song called When I Look For You, and of course in this spirit that I was in at that point, my mind in my depression was taking me back to all the emotional points of my life, my relationships, my fears, my joys, but more to do with the human experience of being scared in a lot of situations, and also feeling emotions when you get next to people and you have relationships. When I Look For You relates to I know a person so well, I've spent my life with this person, that I know what you'd say to me in times of trouble. And I know when I look for you, I know exactly what you'll be wearing and how you will be. It was like that was the way into this first song, When I Look For You. I know exactly what you would be meaning to me, even if you'd lost a person, even if you've lost a person in your life and you're thinking of that person. You know, when you look for that person, you know how they are in your mind's eye and in your heart, and you know how they would lift you and talk to you, and you know everything that they would bring to you if they were there. So anyway, this is track 1 called When I Look For You.
When I look for you, I know just where you'll be. When I look for you, you'll be standing right beside me. And I know just what you'd wear, and I know just what you'd say. Something right and true when I come looking for you. And I know you had to leave, and that's the way it's gotta be. And I know there are some things we can never change. When I look for you, yeah, I know just where to look, know just where you stand, right beside me. And I know just what you'd wear, and I know what you'd say. Something right and true when I come looking for you. And I thought you left a little early, and I must admit my head sometimes goes down. It seems like winter's always around my soul. But when I look for you, I ain't gotta try too hard. When I reach for you, you're standing right by my side. And I know what you'd be wearing, and I know what you'd say to me. Something so right and true every time I come looking for you.
So that's the first track on Fugitive Pieces, called When I Look For You. Listening now, I can see that I was seeing it in a way like a 3-piece band. At first, I would just do all the piano chords to these songs, and that took about 10 days. And I would do 5 lead vocals, without writing any of the lyrics down. I basically sang from a feeling, and then I would listen to the song and say, the song has appeared, and I just have to comp these 5 tracks together. Nothing was written on paper with the lyrics. It was almost like talking to somebody. And I'm sure you all know what that's like. It just comes out. And luckily, I suppose, I think I was in a space which I don't think I'll ever be in again to do these songs like this, because it was a period that I can't reproduce. So when I look for you, I see it as a 3-piece band, because at first it was all piano, and then I thought, well, I'm going to add a little bit of ambience, and then I thought I'm going to play a little bit of guitar around the edges. There's no rhythm. I think there's one or two songs with the sense of drums involved. It was purely the rhythm was played by playing the piano, and I didn't make it slick in the sense you can hear pops in the vocals. You can hear the vocals are not being manipulated too much. The reverb was found straight away. Everything was found straight away, because when you do that sometimes, and that's why it's a rare moment, you know you've caught the sadness, the poignancy, again, the emotive context. And Fugitive Pieces, the title of the album, it's been used many times by people, but I'd written it down many years ago because Byron, the Romantic poet, his first book of poetry, which was very, very naive but very emotional, was called Fugitive Pieces, and that stuck with me because it was him learning his trade, feeling poetry, but also being naive, which can be very powerful at times. So that's the first track, When I Look For You. And getting back to this Fugitive Pieces title, I like the idea of fragments, and I think that's what Byron's poetry was. It was fragments of revelations, I suppose. And for me, these songs are all short, which was great. And they finish really, most of them without fades. The technical side of fading something in a mix. A lot of it was very short in the songs, which is different for me because I usually go on for days. But that to me meant that I was writing something like fragments of expression. The second song on the album is a song called Church Spires. It's got interesting sort of time rhythms about the way I was playing the piano. That again came from space. I don't know why. I sat down the second day and wrote Church Spires. The Church Spires to me, as I was writing it again, and it was a stream of consciousness, as I was doing the piano, I was singing, and I recorded that into my phone so I could hear what the melodies were like. And Church Spires just came out, and I remember that when I was a boy, this basically back in England, starting off, some of it was quite grey. I was in Southampton in the 50s and 60s, and I remember going to school, primary school and secondary school, and always walking past a church, and I always remember seeing that huge church spire with a cross on the top, and I felt actually quite scared. I felt like something's watching me and I have to be a good boy. And of course, you get a sense of hugeness with these churches and with the spire going into the sky. And it brought back memories of my grandmother and the black dog she had, and a neighbour I had who had cancer, and his wife used to send him to the park just to sit on a bench, and I remember seeing him. So again, it's a stream of consciousness. And there was a lot of alcohol around some elements of my grandparents' family, and lodgers staying at people's houses, and people didn't seem to be too happy around that time. I remember as a schoolboy, and you go to school and you have to go into the assembly and sing all these hymns, and you get a feeling of oppression, really, like I'm being looked at and I've got to be a good boy. And it used to feel to me oppressive in a kind of way, and you'd come home from school and you'd pass that church again and look at the spires and think, I hope I did good today, and that I'm not going to be crucified, or I have to pay a price for looking at that girl in school, So it was a feeling of that something was overseeing you. And at the moment when I wrote Church Spires, as well as just singing about church spires looking down on me and looking down on my house and my council house, also brought memories back about my childhood, and living in Southampton. You're near the docks, and you can hear the dredgers at night digging up the mud, and I could look out of my window and see the docks from my council house. So all these memories came back, and let me play you now Church Spires.
I can see our black dog lying by the fire, coats in the hallway, shows our desire. Neighbor's got cancer, send him to the park, I see him on the white bench in the dark church spires. Look down over our house and over me. Church spires. Look down over my house and over me. There's a drunken lodger on the kitchen floor. See the power station through the back door. Monday morning school, waiting by the gates, too scared to go in, I'll be late. Church spires, looking down over our house and over me. Church spires, looking down over my house and over me. I can hear the dredgers turn the TV on. Grandma's drinking something really strong. 3 ducks on the water, flying out to space. Better put my coat on, try to escape. Church spires, looking down over our house and over me. There's church spires, looking down over my house and over me.
Church Spires, track 2 on Fugitive Pieces, my album from 2021. Listed now, that brought back, yes, my childhood to me, and wearing shorts, going to school and thinking the church knows I'm wearing shorts. Yes, anyway, I noticed there, I'm a bass player, and there's no bass guitar on there, and I really just put bass into tracks when I really felt that I needed to play bass, not because that's what you do. Bass takes up a lot of space, and I wanted to keep an openness, and there's background vocals there, and those appeared just because I would have played the song the first day, and the second day listened to it and thought it would be great to do some emotional harmonies. But as I was just saying there, it was about being minimal. I did see it as a 3-piece, a 4-piece band with very, very little arrangements, and the arrangement had to make sense. Again, a very short song, and again, fragments of feeling, and it brings me on to the third track. It's called Intro because I was beginning to write on the third day. It sounds like the Bible, doesn't it? On the third day. Just been talking about church spires, yeah. I started to write this song, which had a really great, to me, chord progression. I was looking at some old gospel chord sheets, and I think it affected me because I started to write this song that had a slight gospel feel about it, and maybe a dramatic kind of vaudeville stage sense about it as well. A lot of the tracks on this album, I don't know why, I'm an Englishman from Southampton, but they have a slight gospel and soul feel about them. I can't really analyse that because I wasn't even questioning what I was going going to write. It was, although the piano was joined to me and in my chest and my vocals, the vocals were just important to me. So if it sounded gospel or soul or whatever it sounded like, that's what it was. But I was writing this song, and on the third day, this title came out called The Saddest Boy. And again, when I was writing the song and singing these words that I didn't write down, I was thinking, in a sense that I feel like I've accomplished so much and I have a happy life and everything was perfect for me because I was able to do music in my life. And yet at times, as we all probably know, we can have everything and everything be in a good place and still you can be sad. And I used to always work at impressing people with love and goodness and wanting to be loved. And I thought sometimes, my mum used to say also, I used to feel too much. And she said, you have to be careful. My mother would always say, I think my father saw it too, that I was an over-emotional kid in the early days. And she said, you have to be careful because what you care about and what you link close to could really, 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 really break your heart. Anyway, I'm about to play The Saddest Boy as track 4 pretty soon, but when I was writing The Saddest Boy, I just sang these harmonies out of the blue at the beginning of the song, and these are the harmonies, and it's just called Intro. And in fact, I'm going to play, it was meant to be the front to the song The Saddest Boy, so I don't know why I'm thinking that they aren't linked together. On the album it is track 3 and track 4, but I'm going to play you the intro, which links into, harmonically, The Saddest Boy.
Was a boy, played with all his toys, and in his world, his long curls, everything was joy. And everywhere he went, his smile was heaven sent. But when the clouds come rolling round, this is what his parents said: stay out of the dark. Close the book of your heart. For if you love the bells and all the toys, you'll end up the saddest boy. There once was a man, happy as a clown, born and bred to be your friend. There goes a happy man. And everywhere he went, all the money that he spent. But when the clouds came rolling round, he remembered what his parents said: stay away from the dark. Close the book of your heart, or the pain of life will dim your eyes. You'll end up the saddest boy. Don't fall in love with the bells and toys, or you'll end up the saddest boy. The saddest boy.
The Saddest Boy. God, that really does the chord sequence to me, feels, and the melody. You got that vaudeville, very much vibe about it, like a stage show. That just came out of nowhere as well. And I noticed that I'm playing electric piano there, and I thought, as I was building this up over this period of time quite quickly, I thought it would be interesting to, even though I'm writing from keyboards, to change from an acoustic piano to electric pianos, to change the colour somewhat. The next song that appears in order as well as I was writing through these 10 days is a song called Stars, Rain, Moon and Sun. Yeah, pretty unusual, I suppose. It just came out of my mouth, and I think I might have seen somewhere a poem or something that just threw these words together, and it just seemed to conjure up such a magical feel to me. And as I was jamming the song and the song came about, I realised that what I was writing about somehow was about how, as a songwriter, you put sometimes your truest emotions lyrically into your songs, and that you don't express in life. And I always found that when I was going through a relationship problem or something about a relationship was tough, I found myself driving to the coast. The sea has always been where I think possibly I should be to heal. For some reason, I run away towards the sea. And this seemed like a very romantic song, because I was really trying to relate that what I'm writing in my songs possibly is what I'm writing to my lovers and what I'm writing to my companions and partners throughout life. It's a very romantic song, very much me, really, in the sense that there's a bittersweet beauty and also a pain in love, and very confusing love can be. Something absolutely beautiful and right, and something definitely off kilt. I think love has that built into it. On an album I did called The Slender Sadness, the love songs that I've written, I think there's always, in the truest sense of love, it's an unknowable quality and an unknowable an emotion. It drives us. We have a desire for it. We have to be social. We have to get near to somebody. We want to be understood, but we are ourselves locked in our own bodies, and so although we want to be with another person and be one, we are ultimately two. So when love is at its best, it's because two people really totally understand that situation. Well, that's to me anyway. So Stars, Rain, Moon, Sun, for me was immensely romantic and bittersweet. And I put a drum machine on this, I don't know why, but and also I played a bit of bass in the choruses on a Rickenbacker bass with a pick to define the notes. And it all came around from starting on a synthesizer, quick chordal jam that went through the whole song. And sung, I think, three times I sang this through, again without writing the lyrics down, and each verse was a little bit different, and then I comped the best of those three vocals together, and there were the lyrics, and then it really hopefully portrayed what it was to drive to the sea with a bittersweet love emotion in your heart. Here's Stars, Rain, Moon and Sun.
Let's drive down the coast tonight and chase the amber tides. There's a place where darkness aches and light will blind. Melt away on silver waves. Summer must die, but that's alright. It's in the stars. In the rain, it's in the moonbeams, in the sun rays, on the colors of his heart. He puts it in a song. She's in the stars, Soak your dress in the ocean foam, kick your shoes off. Tell me what I wanna hear, there's only love. Set your heart on wings of sparks, drift upon the sky, you'll be alright. It's in the stars, it's in the rain, in the moonbeams, in the sun rays, all the colors of his heart. He'll put it in song. She's in the stars, she's in the rain, in the moonbeams, in the sun rays, all the feelings he has for her. He'll put them in a song. All the lightning behind his eyes, on the suffering in his disguise, all the colors of his pain, he'll put them in a song. She's in the stars, she's in the rain, in the moonbeams, she's in the sun rays, all the love he feels for her, he'll put it in a song.
That's track 5, Stars, Rain, Moon, Sun. Bittersweet Romance, I think, came out on that day of my rather blue period. I remember that I really felt like if I was going to play guitars around these songs, electric guitars, which was the last thing I did, I wanted to use a volume pedal, which I controlled by my feet, so that I could make the notes feel like they were highlighting and dancing around the chords, a bit like clouds. Yes, we songwriters see in pictures, I think, but that was the last thing I did on this album, was the guitar playing. But I always felt like I needed to be swelling the notes and using a volume pedal. That came to mind when I listened to that song, particularly Stars, Rain, Moon, Sun. Now the next song, very short song, right in the middle of the album. And as I said to you before, these 11 songs are on the album sequenced exactly as they were written each day. This is a song called Forgive, and I think it's a special little piece. I really do. I know when I played it to a few people and my manager, Diane Poncher, there was a lot of emotion in the air, and I could feel like it was communicating in a big way. You know, in my life, I've made a lot of mistakes, done a lot of wrong things, and I've hurt people. And you realise that I have realised that women seem to have the greatest ability to forgive. When I think a man in general finds it much harder to forgive, and if a woman did to us what we did to them, I think we wouldn't forgive as easily. I'm sure that's not consistently the truth, but in my experience, women just seem to have that great vision, great deepness, and reality of life to be able to see things for what they really are and forgive and see into the soul and see that mistakes can be made. I know for me it would have been much harder if I had to forgive a partner for what I did. So this song came in this, again, 3 weeks of rather blue depression, which I think sometimes is a very creative period. This song came right in the middle of this period. Song called Forgive.
while our worlds were at war, while the belly dancers twirl. Could you mend us with your needle and stitch, and give the deepest gift? Forgive. How on earth, while the man was flying high, trying to go beyond the sky, could you walk across this broken bridge and give the longest kiss and forgive? How? Forgive.
Very short song. It just happened. You can't extend songs like that if you think you're making a communication which is an utterance of reality. Sometimes we know that sometimes being minimal can be very powerful. So a little song called Forgive, and yet a little song, but also I think there's a bigness in there with the vocal so loud. I remember wanting to try to get very, very near the microphone and really try and get all the sound of breathing and the sound of the of your mouth as you say these words and sing these words. That's a very special piece to me. You know, in fact, this whole album, Fugitive Pieces, is very under the radar in all my albums. It really hasn't been taken to people's hearts as much as my other work, but that's okay, because I know that if it does appeal to somebody, it'll probably appeal in a very real way, in a very intimate way, and a deep way. And I'm very pleased that I had that chance to make an album like this and be a little brave about it and say, if we were to do too much work on this and see it bigger than it is, we'd lose. I think I would totally lose why this happened. You know, when I think about it, it was for me that I made this record. I didn't even know it was going to come out, to tell you the truth. When I finished it, I'd been not mixing with anybody for about a month. I'd kept myself to myself, so that when you're in a depression, you know, if you're around people, you may lash out and you may bring other people down. I've learnt this over a period of time. You know, your emotions, you have to have tools to keep them under and not hurt other people. You have to be still. And I always realised after a period of time of studying this that if I did have a depression, I would be best for me to go through it myself and not lay it on other people's shoulders all the time, because there's an aggression, there's a darkness that can appear. And so I made friends with music on this album. And I remember when I finished it, I hadn't seen my manager and a few people for a long time. And I remember playing it and my manager, Diane Pontra, saying, "This is extremely special." I said, "Yes, but it's so personal and dark." And she said, "It's not as dark as you think. It's a real thing. And I think this deserves to come out." And so even though I thought it was an album for myself that I would just keep there, you know, to heal me and just I went through something, when I did eventually play it, 11 songs out of the blue, I know that my manager said this has to be released, so I'm very grateful for that. But as I said, it's under the radar. It hasn't really been taken in by my supporters in the way that I usually get, but I expected that. And I do think that if it does communicate to somebody, it's gone into under the skin, like a good book or a good movie. They're not always the most glamorous, most successful things, but some of those pieces of work that we love and we know speaks to us is usually below the radar, I think, anyway. So going to move on now from Forgive to the next song, which is called Used Christmas Tree. I can't overemphasize how these songs each day just appeared, and I'd write down a title the moment I started to sing or get a melody. And Used Christmas Tree, I think I've wanted to write a song like this for a long time, because every time Christmas comes around, and maybe, a week after, 2 weeks after, you see outside the houses these trees just laid there, thrown away. When we buy them, we love them, and we decorate them, and we put them in the house, and we make them something glorious. But then when the time's over and we don't need them, we fling them out. And every time I saw these Christmas trees just lying outside in the street, I thought there's a metaphor there for how we treat things when we've had enough of them and they've served their purpose. Old people, we particularly in America, there's a great sense of like, yes, okay, you're old, stick you away in a home. And something we loved and cared for. Animals at Christmas, people buy animals and they give them as gifts, and then they realize how hard it is to look after the animal, and they then are disregarded and thrown out. And I saw Christmas trees, the song Used Christmas Tree, really speaking about how we use things, and once they're not useful to us, we disregard them. That's where this song came from. So let me play you Used Christmas Tree.
It's funny how dreams seem to hang in the air. Some never ever seem to fade. I still can't see that used Christmas tree out on a rubbish dump. Skinny old dog being led to the pound. Levi's nose was in the hell. I can't help seeing that old used Christmas tree laying out on a rubbish dump. And I put my cover so tight on my head and turned my pillow to my face. For it seems to me what will be, will be. It's just a matter of cold hard luck. See that old man staring into space. Look at his eyes and you can see he feels just like that used Christmas tree out on the road. I can see that used old Christmas tree being driven away by a garbage truck, hidden from our eyes.
That's a track called Used Christmas Tree, and I think sometimes it's we really do want to hide things from our eyes, don't we? It's an illusion. We just want to push things away when we don't want to deal with them, and that's really how I saw the Christmas tree as a metaphor. Anyway, I was just thinking then, with albums, commercial albums, we sit there and we say, yeah, take that song off, we can do better here, I was so stubborn, I didn't think at all about that. It was going to be what these songs were, good, bad, or what, rearranged. No, they're going to come out in the spirit of really like a live performance of writing or live poetry. You do your thing, you believe in it, you hold it. It is a unit. It is what it's going to be, like a Zen calligraphy. What you do will be kept. We all very rarely do that. On albums, we spend a lot of time thinking, what's going to be the next move? How can it be better? Well, there was a vague sense of that on this record, but more than anything, it was more about being honest. Track 8, day 8, track 8. That's how it went, and I'm not making that up. That's how it happened. My memory went right back for some reason on that day, still in this blue period, of living in a council estate in Southampton, and knowing that a neighbour just down the road, and I was a young lad, had committed suicide. A woman had put her head in the gas oven, and it was quite frequent at that time when I went to school that there was the suicides appearing in this council estate. I would just sort of vaguely feel that from the kids, and that vision came right back to me, the horror and the sense that they told me, that the husband had been a beater of his wife, and there was a sense that this woman couldn't take any more, and she was trying to please her husband all the time. This was what I'd sort of learnt as all the parents and neighbours got together and talked about it, and it stuck in my mind. It just stuck in my mind. This song was written on a synthesizer, actually. And I saw, I remember those days, my mother and other women used to wear polka dot dresses. And I remember thinking drops of blood and these polka dots for some reason on a dress. And for some reason, this song just came. So let me play it to you now, Drops of Blood.
Sweet Angel Mary hanging on the wall. She looks so peaceful, oh, in a perfect home. I've been gay on a hi-fi, ooh, so sweet. Turn it up real loud, they won't hear a single thing. But she's so cold, laying on the line of the floor with the gas burners on, and the rain don't seem to stop. Drops of blood, like drops of love, drops of blood, like drops of love. Like Angel Mary, she wear a favorite dress, polka dots blue, the one who loves the best. But she's so cold, laying on the line of the floor with the gas turned high, and the tears don't seem to stop. Drops of blood, like drops of love, drops of blood, like drops of love. You won't see the bruises, they hide so well. And oh, put your smile on, just come on home soon and do the makeup. You know I like so well. You'll be home pretty soon. And she's so cold, laying on the kitchen floor. The gas burns on, the rain won't seem to stop. Drops of blood, like drops of love, drops of blood, they're like drops of love. Sweet drops of blood, like drops of love, dark drops of blood, they're like drops of love. drops of blood, like drops of love, drops of blood, it must be drops of love, these drops of blood, it must be love, these drops of blood, it must be his love.
A very slight feeling of reggae rhythm on the end there. Interesting to me because I grew up loving reggae, and it was a very much an urban music around that time as a kid. You know, in the council estates in Southampton, reggae was very influential. So that's Drops of Blood, and the next track that appeared the next day was again a short piece, but a romantic piece again. It's a song called We've Known Love, and where it came from, I could probably say I don't know, but I was just thinking that day, and I can remember feeling that you're very lucky if you can really say to yourself you've known love. And even if you're breaking up with somebody, or even if you are let's say contemplating what it would be to lose that person, you know, whether in a relationship or death, you know, you're very, very, very lucky if you can say I've known love. And I thought, if I was speaking to my partner, I would be saying we've known love, even through all the ups and downs, through it all, we have known love. And that was very special for me in this period to realize that I have known love, and to relate to that and think like that. As much as I can understand love, I have felt that. And it seemed to me that was, again, a bittersweet, golden feeling of being very lucky, very fortunate, because so many people go through their lives without feeling love. And I knew at that point, even in my blue period, I knew that I had touched and been and felt in love. So here's a song called We've Known Love.
Someday, when the sun is setting, I will take you to that place we've forgotten. We will walk up on the ladder of the skies, when I try to remind you how lucky we are, because we had love, we knew love, yeah, we found love, we've known love. One day, let us take that drive away to all those places where we'd hide, and we'll play all of the songs we wrote together. I'll try to remind you, baby, how lucky we've been, because we had love, we knew love, yeah, we found love, we've known love. Just you and I, we've known love. came some distance, I came some miles just to meet you here. We've known love. We've known love.
We've known love. Track 9. We had day 9, track 9. We've known love is a song really that acknowledges that we're lucky if we know we've experienced that. And I didn't expect on that day to write something like that. That was why this felt like something quite special to me. I mean, the whole project, because I let the mind loose. And I think sometimes when your emotions have been changed and you're not trying to be something, trying to make something happen, and you're just true to yourself, sometimes you touch, whether in art, particularly in art, any kind of art, I think you can touch some truth and honesty. Track 10, an unusual chord sequence in this song, which I'm very pleased with because it's unusual and it's hypnotic, and I always like that when that happens. It's a song called Ealing Key, Key spelled Quay, English. Now, Ealing Key is one of the oldest villages in England, and it has I think the oldest mill in England. It's on the very near Southampton, just outside Southampton, in a village called Totton, Totton. Totton, what a strange name. But I, as a kid, used to go there with my father, who used to work on the wharf as a young man. And there was a pub there, and my father and his brother and my cousin, we used to meet there, and the parents would go in the pub and drink, and I remember that myself and my cousin Cheryl, we used to just be there. They'd bring out a packet of crisps for us, and maybe a glass of cider. Not cider, I mean Coke. Yes, it would have been cider, it would have been Coke. And it was a magical place for me as a child, magical. Also, my grandmother was buried up on a St. Mary's Church, just up a walk away from the mill house on Totton Quay. And I went searching for her grave. After I'd had huge success in America, I went back and I looked for her grave and in a very ancient graveyard on top of this hill in Ealing Quay, a very old church, St. Mary's Church. And I couldn't find her grave, couldn't find it. And all of a sudden, I sort of knew where she was. And I went and found her grave, which was pretty amazing and special to me. And when I was writing on the 10th day, the 10th song, this song appeared. It's called Ealing Quay.
We will see the silent boats out on the mud bay, when we can walk across the toll bridge if you walk real slow. We can walk across the toll bridge if you walk real slow. I feel so much love just in the presence of your company, and I feel so much love just in the presence of your company. Look at the freight ships heading out on the Southampton seas, and we can walk up to St. Mary's Church if you walk real slow. And we can walk up to St. Mary's Church if you walk real slow with me. And I feel so much love much love, just in the presence of your company. Can you see the Celtic cross just hidden in the long grass? We can look for my nan's grave if you walk real slow. We can look for my nan's grave if you walk real slow. And I feel so much love, just in the presence of your company. Oh, I feel so much love, just in the presence of your company.
My father was born in Totton, just outside Southampton, and I was going there quite a bit to see my grandmother when I was a kid. And my grandfather, Arthur, we had the same birthday, September the 23rd. And he'd come back from the First World War, and I always remember that he got gangrene and had both his legs under his knees cut off. And all these memories came back when I was writing Fugitive Pieces. Another thing about Fugitive Pieces, it took me back to when I used to write with Brian Fairweather, my songwriting partner, back in the 70s. It all came down to writing on a piano or a guitar, but looking for chords, looking for melodies, really just trying to write a song. To the final song on the album, track 11, yes, again sounding biblical, day 11. This is a track called Oceans, and it seemed to really sum up to me that this was the end of the album. When I wrote this, I just thought, this is it. I've finished in these 11 days, these 11 days. And the rest would be me comping vocals and doing a little bit of guitar and keyboards around the edges. But Oceans is about what I think most of us have gone through when you're in a relationship, but you feel on different islands in a big, big ocean. And whatever you do, you cannot bring these islands together. You cannot bring the landscape and the territory together. Oceans will divide you. And as I was finishing this record, I felt that somehow, that I could remember what it was like when you tried so hard and believed you could change something, but you absolutely knew somehow that you couldn't change it. And this is why Oceans appeared. Here it is.
Ocean, separate our hearts tonight. Ocean, stretching out between our lives. You and I are left here drowning in blue. Ocean, drifting far apart on sorrow's tides. Here we lay in a bed so big and wide, no more words can bridge this distance. Stranded here on an island of jealousy, we're looking out on an empty horizon. Oceans, separate our hearts tonight. Oceans, stretching out between our lives. You and I are left here drowning in blue. Oceans, drifting far apart on sorrow's tides. Here we lay in a bed that is sinking walking fast, and silence fills all the space that divides us. Waves collide as we search for a sign of life, but love has died on an empty horizon. Oceans separate our hearts tonight. Oceans stretching out between our lives. You and I are left here drowning in blue ocean, drifting far apart on sorrow's tides. Oceans separate our hearts tonight. Oceans stretching out between our lives. You and I left here drowning in blue oceans, drifting far apart on sorrow's tide. Ocean pulling us apart on sorrow's tide.
So there we are. This has been a special, which I've enjoyed very much. And just like when I did the record, I did this whole show in a flow, and it just happened. And I wanted to speak from my heart about it. That's an album called Fugitive Pieces of mine, a solo record that I released in 2021 in April the 19th. Beautiful artwork done by David J. Knight. I just have to mention that he did a portrait of me and put around the picture of my portrait various things that are in this album, various things you'll see around me surrounded in his drawing is very pertinent to this record, and images of my life. I was very pleased that David did that for me, because I've always loved those albums like Captain Fantastic and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, when if you really look at the cover, those days when we used to have album covers, you saw a story there that you wanted to find out about. I've had great pleasure in going back at this point and playing this album, because for me, out of all the albums I've done, this is like coming to a club where I would sit and play some very, very, very intimate songs. And it still remains for me, and I think it always will, a very special time and a very unusual way to make a record for me personally. I hope you enjoyed the show. That was Fugitive Pieces, and I hope some of the pieces, some of the fragments meant something to you. Thank you for being here. Please look after all those innocent animals out there, and be good to yourself, and always be open to the fragments and the pieces in your heart that you might hold back. Sometimes it's pretty amazing to free those emotions. Cheers, I'll see you soon. In the Owl's Nest.